All right, we're going to go. Hi, my name is Jerry Cabazzuto from Soundpath.org. I'm also, I run the GodIsLoveTruthLife.com or GodIsLoveTruthFreedom.com podcast because a life without freedom is not a life worth living. I am extremely honored to welcome two out of the three of Red Pill friends, Brendan Daniel and Mike Mirenda, on the show because you guys are awesome and you have a new album out and we have a performance coming up next week in New Hampshire and lots to talk about. Welcome.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, so let's first obviously plug your channels here. So we have your website, which I'll drop here in the chat. But yeah, just walk us through this Same Side album, which is awesome. Everyone should listen to it. And I'm also going to drop the Bandcamp as well.
Thanks. Yeah, Red Pill Friends is a band started in December of 2024, I think. It's myself, Mike Mirenda, Brendan Daniel, and Jude Roberts. We all met through the Freedom community. There's not a lot of musicians in that community. Oh, more and more every day, I guess. But felt like we found long lost brothers when we stumbled across each other. I met Brendan at the Porcupine Freedom Festival in 2023. And he came up to me. I was there doing some interviews with the Terrain Theory podcast, and he saw the headphones around my neck and said, I got to find a little recording device to record some songs. I got to get me something like that. And I said, well, what are you doing right now? So we went out into the parking lot and I recorded 8 or 9 of his songs right there sitting on a cooler. And that ended up being his album Live at Porkfest. And we've been really good friends ever since. Shortly after, I said, you got to meet this dude, Jude. He's the only other dude I know writing songs like this. So the three of us first did a tour as songwriters in the round to share each other's songs. And it soon just turned into a band in and of itself called Red Pill Friends. And we just put out our first studio album this spring that we had at Confluence down in Texas in April. That was when it was brand new. So it's still brand new.
Absolutely. And I saw you guys at Confluence as well. It was so great to see you guys perform there. And I still need to work on my compilation video to just reflect on that experience. But yeah, I was, what'd you guys think of Confluence?
That was a good time. That was like the epitome of we even had an extra 2 members that show. So
yeah,
really great.
That's right. My wife, Ruth Mirenda, came down and played some fiddle. She's also in my band, The Mammals. Ruthie and I have had The Mammals since the year 2000. So this is our 26th year being in a band together. So she knows how to sit in with any project I'm involved in. And Tristan Claridge, who is an incredible cellist from the West Coast and the only musician I knew who had heard of Tom Cowan and walked around barefoot before it was cool. He's in a bluegrass band called Crooked Still, as well as a band called Bee Eaters. And like I said, when I found out he was part of the Freedom community, we said we got to do something together. So Confluence was the first time we got to jam together. It was awesome.
Yeah, and you also were very awesome to invite my friend Tensi to perform like a Bob Marley song, which was awesome as well.
That was a highlight of the weekend, actually, at the our little pop-up set on, I guess, the Saturday afternoon. If you folks want to check out that performance, it is on our Instagram at Red Pill Friends.
Sambazon tent, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was fun.
That was some good acai too. Those guys were really nice and hosted a good spot for us, and that was awesome. I had a great time.
Speaking of hosting, I want to give a shout out to Hum.Earth. Nick Haslam, the founder of Hum.Earth, HumHive was so generous to sponsor Red Pill Friends in performing at Decentralized Porkfest, basically, the wearehouse.org, the warehouse.org, next week. Brendan, you're going to be representing Red Pill Friends there, playing stuff. And yeah, you want to talk about that upcoming performance? And
yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be hanging out there.
That's in New Hampshire?
Yep, New Hampshire. And Weir, New is it Weir, New Hampshire, right?
I think it's where, yeah.
Where, New Hampshire? Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm probably saying it wrong.
No, I think
Where?
you're right. You're right. I'm from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna play a lot of some new stuff that I have. I just finished a song literally today, so I'll probably play that one. Working on some stuff here while I'm hanging out with Mike. So
Yeah, we're actually, the reason Brendan's here at my house in the Hudson Valley is we're working on his album this week. New Brendan Daniel album as
Exciting.
well. Yeah, we're cranking them out.
You guys are amazing. And you're also, yeah, again, shout out to Nick, who's
yeah,
also,
big thanks for making that happen and making sure there's gas in the tank and like all that stuff that most people really don't think about, and it makes the keeps the track on the rails. So
yeah, it takes really generous donors to see through the veil of, yeah, you want a freedom-free event. Well, things cost money. It costs money for gas, costs money for lodging, costs money for appearances, equipment, all the stuff. And, you guys are doing amazing work. And, I'm so excited that you're going to be performing not just in New Hampshire, but at Exit and Build as well. So thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Yep.
Yeah, so let's talk about the album that you're recording. Come on, that's amazing. Like, what's the theme?
there's just some new songs I have. I mean, there's like some more like I guess like red pilly stuff. I have a new song called World War III and the New World Order. that'll be kind of fun. But I mean, it's it's the same basically dynamic that we made our latest Red Pill Friends record, Same Side, which is available on Bandcamp if you want to check it out. It is it's just like music is really cool in that way where sometimes you can't really you couldn't manufacture like a natural chemistry that some people have with each other. And Mike and his wife have been making music for a long time, and they're amazing people. And it just she's been playing bass, he's been playing drums, and I've been doing like a work trade, stacking wood, and it's nice to exchange energy in that way where you don't have to actually it's cool. It's been fun. It's been
And I've
really
gotten
good
to
time.
know Brendan's songs really well in the Red Pill Friends. I mean, some of these are songs that make the set list. So they're familiar to me, and I've been playing drums on them. And so it's real natural. Like Brendan said, we just made the Red Pill Friends album here in this studio over the winter. So he's like, let's just do the same thing we did on the Red Pill Friends record, just do a bunch of my songs, because he's kind of just striking out as a solo artist. Brendan's had a band with his brothers called Town Meeting for years, which got a little waylaid during the COVID psyop years. So he decided, I got to have my own thing going on. So the Live at Porkfest album is excellent, but it is just him sitting on a cooler in a field in New Hampshire, where there's something really special about really crafting a studio album and putting a lot of time and intention into it. So it's coming out great.
Awesome. And let's talk about you, Mike. I was mentioning before we started recording or live streaming that, I've gotten to know Brendan and Jude and stuff a little bit, but I'd love to get to know you more. And yeah, you're clearly a musical talent and you're a podcaster.
Yeah. In 2020, when everybody, well, I guess a lot of people already knew what was going on, but a lot of people were trying to figure it out, including myself. My best friend from growing up in New Hampshire, Ben Hardy, he lives up there in the White Mountains presently. We started firing links back and forth like a lot of people were. And this term terrain theory kept popping up. We were listening to Tom Cowan and Andy Kaufman, and Zach Bush, and then increasingly more and more voices from that space. But when you Google terrain theory, you get discredited pseudoscience and blah, blah, blah. And it's not until you get to page 12, you say, wait, this is a long running debate. Like this has been going on since the Louis Pasteur and Beauchamp, like 100 years ago plus. So the whole germ theory versus terrain theory debate has raged for a long time. It bubbled up against in the 80s with the whole quote unquote AIDS psyop. And here we are again with COVID. So Ben thought we need a place. There needs to be a place online where all of this information can live. So he put together terraintheory.net just as a repository for books and videos and interviews. So people he didn't have to wade through 20 pages of Google to figure out what this term means. And that evolved into us diving in headfirst, starting our own podcast called the Terrain Theory Podcast. So we're, we have no medical background or anything like that. We're just old friends with a real easygoing rapport with each other. Um, and it gave us an excuse to just like talk and hang out every week. And as Brendan's heard me say a bunch of times, it's like I had to redo my entire education in the last 5 years, which has been an incredible thing. It's like I've been in graduate school for holistic health and wellness, and I've been going through it with my best friend, Ben Hardy. He really holds the reins on that project. He does all the post production, Baker's share of the booking, and I'm kind of just his side man. But it was really life changing, and it continues to be something that enriches my life. I mean, I have a very blessed life already. I've been making music for a living for 26 years with my wife, and got 2 beautiful kids, and like somehow we make it work. But uh, the whole like health and wellness thing was something I had neglected, and I think a lot of musicians don't realize how unhealthy the lifestyle is because it gets so romanticized as in a life in music. But when you really step back, which I was able to do during the lockdown years because I had no work, you spend all your days in a van or in a venue and drinking beer because you get the free beer tickets and eating the free meals because they're free. So you have to be kind of like lean and mean and crafty as a musician to make it work. So you do take the handouts, but you don't realize like the expense that it costs to your health, right? And so in 2021, my wife signed me up for a permaculture course, which I never would have had time to do. And so I'm learning all about terrain theory, and I'm turning my little acre and a half yard into a little permaculture food forest, and like it changed my entire life. And so now that I'm back on the road, I approach it. I mean, I'm going to be 50 this summer, and I'm easily in the best health of my life.
Dude,
And
you're
like,
50.
yeah, I'm 50 in July. Yeah, no, it's all that terrain theory is what I tell people. I've always had kind of a youthful appearance, but like I look younger every year uh, for the last 5 years. So as fucked up as the COVID years were, there were some incredible silver linings that came out of it. Not the least of which is like an entirely like reinvented worldview based in truth and freedom. I was already hip to like truth and beauty. That was kind of my credo as a musician, but freedom was kind of the missing piece, and health freedom tied it all together. So, Terrain Theory podcast every week, wherever podcasts are played, and check it out. It's a wonderful. If you're gonna get in a rabbit hole, like why not be health freedom? It's my favorite one. So that's current events, and like I said, I've been in a band for 26 years as a songwriter, and always, as my mother would say, why are you so anti-establishment? Like I always had it out for the mainstream. Um, but again, it really coalesced. My vision really coalesced when I saw the egregious power grab that happened in 2020, and so it was very validating in at one level, but at the other level was very uh, lonely because I found that most of my friends and friendships I developed over 20 years in folk music were not on the same page. Most of them rolled up their sleeve and went along with the narrative and had pretty hurtful, hateful things to say about people who didn't. And which is why relationships with folks like Brendan and Jude are
Yeah, we miss you, Jude.
all the more powerful because uh, these guys are like world class songwriters and like-minded, and we can like speak freely around each other and not feel like we have to self-edit or thread needles or jump through hoops. We can just truly be ourselves, which ultimately is what expression in art and songwriting should be about. So
Whoa.
yeah.
Okay, let's go down this rabbit hole. I love what you're talking about, like art, like freedom, these concepts, and truly expressing the divine masculine feminine sides of ourselves, alchemizing them through music. Why is it that so many, I feel like there is something to this idea that like people with like a musical background or that are in music, they're able to develop a more holistic picture and aren't afraid of going against the grain, and aren't and are, ready to like be creative and take things on their own. Like, what do you guys think of this? Like, what's up with like musicians being into like freedom and shit?
Um, I don't know. I think that there's obviously like just having an artistic view at life. I've always felt like I've looked at life more from a creative lens, and I kind of feel like I really didn't have any business getting in music at all. I never thought that I would be a songwriter. I always knew I'd be a writer, but I've always knew that creative expression was like the best way to go about trying to um, put like words to the things that you feel and want to express them and be seen and heard and felt and loved and etc. And I don't know, music is just, it's just that universal language. It cuts through all the bullshit and everybody can vibe with it even though they don't speak the same language necessarily. They can still enjoy the way that it just moves through the biofield. Music is everything, and literally I think it etymologically means the mother of all cycles. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but I just want to say that I miss Judy's in Greece right now, otherwise he would be hanging out with us here. And
yeah, it's like 3 a.m. or something for him over there.
exactly.
Yeah, we really did try. Yep.
Yeah, but that in itself, I guess, to add on to what I was already saying, it's like there's this natural connection. I've discovered personally, like when I align my heart with that, like follow my heart, follow the music, which has just kind of appeared in my life. It's not anything that it's like a blessing. It's I get to communicate with the divine through this incredible blessing, and by following that, I've met incredible people who I think everybody is an instrument. Everybody is a tuning fork, even if they're not necessarily a musician. But it's really an incredible thing to be able to engage in that and to meet the people that you meet through it, and the way that it affects them it's no small task. It's really like quite a spiritual endeavor, and I'm beyond blessed about it, I guess.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, we really appreciate each other because I've found that there's not as many musicians in the freedom space as I would have liked to see, especially in light of current events. And I do think it's because when push comes to shove, there's not a lot of money in music. And who was just talking about, maybe it was Owen Benjamin, when you're in debt, it's a tough place to be. And musicians are basically chronically in debt. They're chronically right on that line between being in the red and being in the black. And you feel like if you step out of line, well, then that's going to disrupt the meager living that you're already making. I do get it why people don't want to stick their neck out and go against the grain. But when you do, it's really rewarding for all the reasons Brendan said, because you meet the best people at these events like Confluence, Porkfest. You meet these really wonderful New Biology experience where we just came from in Virginia. You really meet these wonderful, open-minded, free thinkers. And to perform this sort of topical material for that audience, like the connection it's not like anything I've really experienced before, because a lot of these people, yourself included, we're listening to podcasts, we're listening to these voices, we're in these rabbit holes. And then to hear it kind of reflected back to you through song, it's so validating and empowering. So the Red Pill Friends shows have been really, really special. It occupies a special niche, I think, in the music scene and in our lives as musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, straight up, I want you guys to go viral. Like, I think you guys are amazing. You're talented. You're great musicians. You're great. Your lyrics are great. You have great musicianship. You work well as an ensemble as well as solo. I mean, we're blessed to have you around and share your gifts. And like, I don't understand. I mean, like, the only way that we can transmute the situation of the struggling artist is to invest in people, in artists like you guys.
I have been saying a lot recently that and it's funny because you've got this wonderful donor who did step up, and it's a wonderful precedent. But like, I think the people of means in the scene they need to step up. They need to step up and start bankrolling individuals, but also events and platforms to really build community, because it does, like you said, it doesn't happen on its own. And I don't want to discredit the people who are already doing this, because they are out there. But I really do think if you've got means and a mind for freedom, like we can really light the spark to do some bigger and bigger things with each year that passes. And I do see it happening. I think we're on the front edge of a really exciting wave. But I mean, we're as grassroots as it comes. So, and even the folks who are listening to the stream right now, like word of mouth is the best publicity that exists. So like, check out the record, come to a show, tell a friend who's like-minded, check out Red Pill Friends and check out Brendan Daniel. And that's how it happens. One mind at a time.
Absolutely. And before I forget, if folks want to check out the Same Side album, we have the Bandcamp link there in the chat. And also you guys are going to be at Exit and Build in November. So yeah. I would love to switch gears and ask, would it be possible to like hear a song or two, or maybe, or if you want, we could just like discuss a song or whatever is easiest for you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. What did you have a specific song in mind, or?
This is just
How
I don't know.
Play World War III?
Yeah.
Feel like it?
All right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
What do you?
Oh my gosh! Yay!
I don't know. I'll think about it while you're playing yours.
So I want to like talk about the fact that like we're all from like New England originally, and like I've had this conversation offline with people, but like I really feel like for me, like growing up in Massachusetts, like I feel very blessed because like I feel like the energy of that area, whatever that may be, ley lines, American Revolution energy, like I just feel like it feels really great that like we're starting in New Hampshire, we're starting in this reinvigoration of the American freedom movement.
Yeah, I love that. As I mentioned, I grew up in New Hampshire in the Seacoast, and that whole live free or die thing as an adult, when I utter that phrase and I look at New Hampshire through that lens now, it's very powerful. When I was a kid, I probably just rolled my eyes as like that's a weird thing to put on a license plate, but it's a real credo, and people there take it seriously, especially up in the North Country. They live by those words, and it's really powerful. Maybe I'll sing my love song to New Hampshire after yours.
Yeah.
Yay. Brendan, do you want to talk about what you're going to play here? I'm going to change the view so it's just you. How do I do this?
Yeah, okay. This is a new song called World War III and the New World Order. And I guess it was just kind of inspired by this wave of a lot of people on the internet suddenly that only moments ago were raging towards the machine, so to speak, and raging towards the vaccine and all these different things that were very fascist-like are all of a sudden against, fascism, and it just we're so easily back on, claiming that cultural. It's just another, song kind of trying to cut the divide between sides, left wing and right wing, is really what I'm trying to do with this song, I guess. Left wing, right wing, chicken wing. A little out of tune. Well, here's to all those fascists you now say you want to kill, but you still serve those dark occultists with your fiat dollar bill. My body is my ballot and I cast it every day. The mind's a precious thing to waste, don't scroll it all away. If you play stupid games, you'll win stupid prizes. They say freedom isn't free, so they manipulate the prices. Well, it's World War III and it's the New World Order. I heard it on TV from my robot news reporter. It's the digital ID and all the nonsense at the border. It's the monster in the cage and it's the doctor in your corner. There's a business in disease. Did you think ice could make things warmer? Hope you're happy on the streets, 'cause BlackRock owns your brick and mortar.
Well, it's World War III and it's the WEF. Well, this one's for the system that you now claim to rage against. There's still poison in the kids. Are you still sitting on the fence? Are you still fighting for some change without a scrap of common sense? They indoctrinate the youth and they'll weaponize the nation. You don't recognize the truth after all the obfuscation. I'm talking to both sides. I'm talking to both sides. I'm talking to both sides. Everybody's got something to prove, and everybody's got a job to do. I'm talking to both sides. Everybody's got bills to pay. Everybody's got something to say. I'm talking to both sides. Everybody's got an ass to kick. Everybody's got a boot to lick. I'm talking to both sides. Everybody's gotta be the judge. Everybody's gonna need a hug. I'm talking to both sides. Well, it's World War III and it's the New World Order.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it looks like Cynthia Mitchell, dear friend from Affirm Life Daily, who also runs the soundpath.org website, enjoyed it and is in the
Nice,
audience.
thank
So,
you.
and is a
Yeah.
talented spoken word artist to boot. So, yeah, let's talk about that song. It made me, oof, how do I do this? It made me think about the Hegelian dialectic and just this like problem, reaction, solution shit that they always try to do. And
Mhm.
yeah, talk more about that song. I'd love to
My
hear more.
favorite line that I wrote in it is that there's still poison in the kids. Are you still sitting on the fence? Are you still fighting for some change without a scrap of common sense? Because I feel like there's like I said, there's like this rebounce of a lot of people on the quote unquote left or whatever. It can be, it's a behavior, you know, it's not, it's, I don't, the side thing, it's just a behavior. But there's not an acknowledgement about what's happening with vaccinations, particularly with children. And I think that's just like with the medical freedom, something that absolutely needs to be addressed in terms of like what we're fighting against. And it's all, to me, from what I've discovered, it's, you know, it's all connected to some degree, you know, like the medical thing and it goes into the education and it goes into basically every asset of things that control our culture. When you look deep enough into anything, you know, you can just follow the money, as they say. And so, but that's just one of those things where it seems, and I also love Mike's stickers that he makes here. It says, let's agree that a technocratic biosecurity state is a bad idea. So that's like the big tech thing is, you know, we should at least be able to agree on that. And I feel like there's just these topics that we all could really just come around to, like, regardless of what you did in the past or whatever, like Mike said a little while ago, it's like you have to unlearn everything. So I'm trying to remind myself often with my songs not to judge others because we all have a lot of unlearning to do, and then learning those things and just getting better at, like, you know, calling those things out that are just so blatantly wrong.
Yeah, I love that song. I'm very excited
Thank
to
you.
hear,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm excited
your
too.
next album. Yeah.
It's gonna be great. I love making music.
Mm. Mike, did you also want to share something today or
Woohoo!
yay? And then yeah, feel free to give an intro or whatever. Let me remove myself.
Yeah, well, we were talking about New England and New Hampshire a moment ago, and I wrote this song the day I met Brendan, which I acted recently. But I was driving home from Pork Fest, feeling really filled up because I hadn't been around such a large community of like-minded people, maybe ever at that point. And it's very affirming. And the fact that it did happen in my home state of New Hampshire felt really good. So I was driving home, feeling kind of proud and filled up and empowered. Of course, I was driving home to the Empire State by stark contrast. But I found myself realizing, especially like I mentioned, having to redo my whole education the last 5 years, like, why are the things in my head there? Why do I believe the things that I believe? And I decided it actually takes a concerted effort to uh, uninstall the default programming and kind of vet each piece of information from the ground up. That's what I've been doing. And I file that all under the name of this next song, which is Free State of Mind. Tried to take my job, tried to take my pride, tried to take my friends right from my side. Now I'm in a free state of mind. I know my thoughts are mine, and I know who's on my side. In a free state of mind. Tried to take my joy, tried to take my light. Tried to take the blue right from the sky. Now I'm in a free state of mind. I know my thoughts are mine, and I know who's on my side. In a free state of mind. I know my thoughts are mine, and I know who's on my side. In a free state of mind. In a free state of mind.
Amazing! AI shall never take over. Nothing replaces good musicianship.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, you guys have these like lovely sort of poetic lyrics, but also just really impactful. Like, like these thoughts are mine. Like they can try to program us, but like we need to be the master of ourselves. Talk more about this song.
Yeah, well, like I said, I wanted to make sure the thoughts in my head were there because I put them there and not because of someone else's agenda or just going along. With the media flying me for a long time. I would just turn on NPR in the morning and listen to that, and I drove around. And I did see a red flag, like, this is before COVID, but like maybe around 2017, 2018, brought to you by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's like, doesn't sound very public to me anymore. So like, there were some red flags along the way, but like, like I said, I was just kind of going along with the default programming, thinking that NPR was alternative at the time. And then you realize the deeper you get into some of these places, health freedom, voluntarism, spirituality, cosmology, you name it, that like they're really just towing the line for the establishment. I mean, across the board. And so, like I said, double checking, why do I believe the things that I believe? Doing the podcast every week was like a master class in unlearning, right? And so that song's kind of speaking to that, in a free state of mind where I know my thoughts are mine. Double check. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I think is a good words to live by. Like, Woody Guthrie wrote "This Machine Kills Fascists" on his guitar famously, and people like to trot that out, especially in these days. This machine kills fascists. A fascist. I was trying to kill the fascists. Well, my thing, if I was going to write something on my guitar, it would be, "Are you sure?" Are you sure? Because everyone's so damn sure of themselves, I've found. Not to throw them all under the bus, it's kind of a sweeping generalization, but especially coming from the left, where I did come from, everyone's very sure of themselves. And I see a lot of those ideas kind of championed and validated on platforms like NPR and BBC and some of these kind of uppity, smug platforms that trot out propaganda as fact. And once you have eyes to see it, you can't unsee it. So I lost a lot of friendships over it. Try to take my friends right from my side is in that song. I tried to take my joy, tried to take my light, try to take the blue right from the sky. I mean, it's partly poetic, but it's partly literal. I mean, the sky, there's something going on up there that some people can see and some people can't, So I think it's a pretty gentle way of talking about these big things. And I also like that song because I think I can sing it to any audience and not have it come across as polarizing. I mean, Ruthie and I, the Mammals, we often say we try to sing about what we're for more than what we're against, to be forces of unity and not division in a culture that seems to run on division. So it's a trick. You do have to thread needles because you don't want to turn people away from any show, any opportunity to connect with people. But when you're addressing some heavier subjects, there's an art to getting your point across without polarizing the audience. So I think that song does a pretty good job. It's just kind of speaking my truth, my current event truth, and it's not super on the nose. It's a little bit veiled, but it definitely gets across what I was feeling, especially in 2023.
I love it. And, this idea of the need to question one's premises, reminded me that, Mark Passio, who inspired a lot of the work that we're all kind of involved in with regard to natural law. He did, a shadow work seminar recently, encouraging people to go within and say, is this right? Is my behavior correct? What can I do to change? And he's also, just wanted to plug that in November, he's coming out with a Natural Law Revisited seminar. So people definitely need to check out that. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, like, I don't know. Are you guys hearing the sirens in the background?
Yeah, I heard it for a second. So
Yeah.
I just gotta say though that song I played, that last line, you don't recognize the truth after all the obfuscation. Anyone who follows Passio probably knows that's totally the tip of the hat towards him.
He special artist to get the word obfuscation into your lyrics.
Says like right back at you.
I love that obfuscation lyric.
Yeah. Mike
Gentleman's
has a
handshake.
beautiful song that basically, yeah, puts the word in there too. But
Mhm.
that word was, like, yeah, listening to a lot of Mark Passio stuff is great. The way he talks about the occult just means hidden, all these things that these, yeah, alchemy, it's real. Like, yeah, and music, to touch on your point earlier, and keep it as brief as I can. Music is what I've discovered is the expression of the heart, and the heart can heal in a way that I think would be considered miraculous in a world that considers a lot of things to be very material and structured. There's a lot of mystery to the heart, and I just am discovering more and more how much, when I trust my heart or listen to my heart and allow that to create the experience of a song, it creates a lot of healing, and that's amazing. That's a really cool thing. And it's a blessing. Yeah. We can all heal and through our hearts. And Mike also has a song called Heal Our Hearts, and it's great. It's fantastic.
There was a woman at New Biology Experience named Katie Kiss. What a great name. And she was at Confluence as well, if I'm not mistaken. And she came right up to me when we were sound checking. And she said she had given up on music. She didn't trust it anymore. She didn't know who to listen to. She was feeling very kind of marooned by just music at large, until she stumbled upon us, and it like reinvigorated her love and interest for music at large, which is incredible.
That's the best. That's a song. That's the best song you can hear sung.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely when you're when you're reinvigorating someone's faith in music at large, it makes you feel real good when they tell you that. So we're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I'll just say this just up front. When I approach other conference organizers and I show them the Soundpath lineup that we've had in the past, everyone goes towards you guys.
Cool.
They love your music, and there's a reason for that. You guys, I mean, and also sort of stepping away, like it doesn't matter what genre, right? Like some people are just going to naturally whatever based on the way they grew up or whatever, they might gravitate towards a certain genre. But yeah, I do think there's something timeless and special about the way you guys are just raw singer-songwriters. Like this is a lost art, and it's people like you guys that are just keeping the flame alive. And this is why going to your story, like this is why I do Soundpath, because I want to feature artists like you guys. You truly are going to inspire so many.
Thank you. Yeah, well, folk music has been synonymous with resistance, I think, for a long time, because it's the story of folks, right? Folks have been struggling for as long as there's been folks. Woody Guthrie, we reference Woody all the time because, that was when recordings were brand new, right? And he was this guy who was just telling the people's stories. He's telling his stories. He's telling people's stories, laborers' stories, immigrant stories, just stories, farmer stories. He was just writing what he saw obsessively. We just visited the Woody Guthrie archives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on our way to Texas in April, and it's an incredibly inspiring place to go as a writer, because you realize the breadth of material the man created. I don't think he ever expected it to be in a museum. I would say he certainly didn't. But every wall of this building is slathered with his words, mostly handwritten or typewritten. And he was also a painter, so there's a lot of paintings and songs written on paintings. Like, he just couldn't stop outputting. And it's really inspiring. It's a nice reminder that we should just be taking notes all the time. I don't know if you've heard of the folk singer Utah Phillips, but he was another hero of mine. And before I knew a thing about voluntarism or anarchy, he was talking about it when I was listening to him when I was like 20 years old, and like it didn't really resonate then the way it does now when I go back and listen to him talk about those ideas, especially through song and storytelling. But he gave me a pin. I met him at a festival. It's on my banjo strap, and it says spy. And he never really told me what it meant, but that's what it means to me now, is like, pay attention.
Yeah.
Always be looking. Be a spy.
Yeah.
The culture.
In fact, I think I think it might even be a Mark Bassio quote where he says, a lot of the big problem with the quote unquote freedom community is that evil people are really good at working together and we haven't quite figured it out. But I have faith that we are figuring it out. And I think music is a big part of that. But yes, we absolutely need to be working together on such a capacity that, because we're up against, look what we're up against.
Up against the big propaganda machine.
Yeah. Scarcity mindset. Totally.
But it's, it's Media Monarch, and his motto is be the media. Don't bitch about the media, be the media. And that's exactly what we're doing tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great segue into, I've mentioned this on a few lives before, but essentially, and I'm already sort of executing on this plan, I've learned a lot from having Soundpath 2025 and sort of learning about different like funding models and just thinking outside the box. And, if we can, rather than focusing on, okay, Soundpath needs to have like a dedicated in-person event, every year. Like, what would it look like to send some of our artists guerrilla warfare style into other conferences, into other truther festivals, and get the natural law, truth, freedom messaging that way, and also doing it online for this year in November. And on top of that, for 2027, I've been really inspired by Derek Brose's work, his activation tour, and he wasn't booking these like, Madison Square Garden type venues. He was doing it in, people's backyards, community centers, parks, and so on and so forth. And like this, if we were to create like a Freedom Underground Railroad on the East Coast, doing like a tour, like a Soundpath tour, and like people in the certain regions can like travel for certain legs of the tour, and we can basically meet in people's backyards, meet at, sort of cheap, parks, whatever venues, and just have people gather in their local communities, hearing regional music, regional presenters, and or if people want to do the whole tour down the East Coast, that's another thing. But and then I don't have to like scramble every year begging investors for, like we could just boots on the ground, just fucking do it.
DIY it. Exactly. Utah Phillips also said, build your tours around your friends. That's how
I love that. Yeah. And truly, like, that's basically what I'm up to for next week. Like, I'm just going to like stop, see a bunch of friends along the way to see Brendan. And I'm also trying to get another artist involved. So Brian, if you're listening at the warehouse, I'm trying to get I messaged you on Telegram and trying to get another artist involved. But anyway, yeah, so wrapping up, I would love to, just hear your guys' closing thoughts on, your album or anything else that kind of comes up for you.
I'll just say I'm grateful every day. And really, I think that joy and that gratitude really goes a long way in counting your blessings, so to speak. And I think my motto lately has been dispel despair. Just, shine. And that was really great. All that stuff you said about what he was super inspiring. Just be constantly, putting it out there, I guess. And I'm grateful, and it's good to be here. And if you're listening, I love you.
Yeah. Just thanks for the opportunity. Like we said, there's not a ton of platforms to share this music and these ideas. So we're grateful for all of them. And, come see us at a show, redpillfriends.com. Probably need to update our tour dates page. We do have Freedom Palooza in Groveton, New Hampshire on July 11th.
Yeah.
Where the whole band will be. We will be at Exit and Build in Bandera, Texas in November. We haven't announced that yet, but you heard it here first. Brendan was on June 24th, just next week.
Yeah, Freedom Tour, basically, our New Hampshire run.
And you've got those dates at brendandanielmusic.com.
I do.
So that's this month. And then another show that's not announced yet, but if you're in the Hudson Valley in Chatham, New York on August 15th, I think they're calling it the Freedom Jubilee or something like that. And that's in Chatham, New York, which is Jude's hometown, at the Chatham Fairgrounds. Red Pill Friends will be there as well as the Mammals. And I'll get that up on the website probably right after this interview. But yeah, we got a few things on the horizon, and I'm sure there's going to be more opportunities every year for this type of sentiment through music.
Yes, and I want to make sure people support you guys so that you can continue making art. If we want to see artists like you, we need to, as an audience, invest in you. So make sure, guys, to check out their album on their Bandcamp. Link is below. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm just honored to support you guys and know you guys, and I'm always going to have your back. You guys are truly spearheading. I'm just following where people are interested, and people want your music. They're hungering for it, and so yeah.
Thanks, Jerry.
We really appreciate it. A lot of gratitude for you and your enthusiasm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course. Have a good night. Bye, everyone.